Well, hello there. You are listening to the Sort Yourself Out podcast. This week, we're discussing how you can free yourself of that sense of boredom and stagnation and refresh your life. I'm your host, Janine Hunt, natural health therapist for over 30 years, hypnotherapist, lifelong learner, and student of the Ageless Wisdom. Here on the Sort Yourself Out podcast and in my Better Than Happy Zone membership, I teach powerful top-down techniques and practices so that you can master your mind and emotions, free yourself of what's holding you back, expand your consciousness, and nourish your soul. So let's get started. Well, hello there, and thank you so much for joining me today. This week, we're discussing simple ways that you can let go of that persistent feeling of boredom or even stagnation and totally refresh your life. Now, this may sound like a big thing to do. Indeed, if you're feeling stagnated, you may be feeling like you're buried under this heavy weight that you just can't get out from under. But fret ye not, my friend, as we're looking at really easy and simple ways that you can make a shift, shake things up, get a fresh perspective, and get the energy flowing again in your life. Firstly, it's really important to recognize that we all go through periods like this. You don't need to make yourself wrong or enter into despair if life isn't flowing how you would ideally like it to. Often, during these periods of apparent stagnation, when boredom sets in, or when we're gagging for some change or excitement, we're in a stage of gathering our resources and preparing ourselves for greater things. Oren, an entity who delivered his wisdom through the books of SYO78, said, "Boredom is often a tool of the soul to lure you into new spaces." So we may need to go through a phase of dissatisfaction that will require us to release some limiting belief or point of view that hinders the manifestation of the change you want to make. So don't be disheartened. It's especially helpful in these times to do what you can to maintain a positive attitude and to have faith and trust that everything is working out in the right timing for something beautiful to emerge. And if you succumb to lassitude or sink into depression, you are only prolonging the period of feeling low by lowering your vibrational frequency. And you are also arresting in its tracks that change that is in the course of a manifestation. So the trick is to be aware of what's going on, and that on the surface, you're on a bit of a plateau, but to keep your spirits up despite that. And that way, you make space for the change to emerge, and you don't sabotage it by reveling in self-pity or despair or dissatisfaction, which will only add negative energy to your life. So aside from those general mindset tips, here are some more simple tips to freshen things up and stimulate yourself out of an enduring mood of boredom or a feeling of stagnation. Firstly, shake things up in your life. Change your routines. Get up earlier or later. Do things at different times. This may sound like an insignificant thing to do, but it really does work and get things moving. I really noticed this myself lately. A few weeks ago, I moved into a newly refurbished room in my house, and I just love the nice, fresh space. It's got such a lovely feeling about it. It's also big enough that I can do my kettlebell workout in it rather than using the living room like I used to do and having to work around other people as I previously did. So this in itself was freeing. But the big thing was changing the timing of my workout from before lunch to the end of the day, before I put my feet up for a bit of rest and relaxation. So now I stop work a little earlier at the end of the day, which feels really nice. And then I take my little doggy Twiggy for a walk, which gets me warmed up. And then I do my workout, bathe, and chillax. And the great thing about this is that I've regained my precious time midday when my mind is clear and my creative juices are flowing. And that is really valuable time for me to spend doing my work, my most important work, rather than exercising. So now I work out later in the day when I'm mentally tired and not really capable of producing much other than dinner. Another seemingly small thing when I first moved into this room was I started taking my bath in my nice new bathroom right before bed. Again, this created valuable time for me during the day, which I really appreciated. And it was so nice to just relax in the bath right before bed, knowing that I had nice bedtime rest ahead. And of course, I felt nice and relaxed afterwards, and I slept really well. And that has its knock-on benefits as well in shaking things up. So these little things allowed me to see new possibilities and potential. So look for a couple of simple ways that you can shake things up in your life and shift things around, and you might find yourself opening in unexpected ways. Even minor changes can stimulate a sense of aliveness. And we need that when we are feeling stagnation. That aliveness is new energy in our lives. Now here's another aspect to think about. To be open to new things coming. It's really helpful to maintain an attitude of openness and receptivity. Keep your eyes open and your ears peeled for new ideas or promptings or whispers from your higher self that can get things moving, possibly in a whole new direction, or maybe moving you further on a path you're already on. You can even ask for inspiration. Just throw it out to the universe and then keep yourself open and alert to answers, guidance, possibilities, and opportunities. In this plateau time, it's especially important and deeply advantageous to listen to your inner voice, your inner calling, and to be alert to new information that can help you to shift out of stagnation to a new level of well-being and activity in the world. So another thing is to try not to take things for granted. Try to see life with fresh eyes, and that will help you to shift out of the mundane and into a new appreciation of what you've got going in your life and what you've got going for yourself. And this really helps to open up that feeling of contraction that we feel when we're stuck and when our vision is increasingly narrow and limited. So allow some playfulness and childlike wonder into your daily existence. When we're in a rut and taking things for granted, we often fail to notice all of the amazing marvels that surround us. Try to feel some amazement of the things around you. Find some things to feel amazement about, and you shouldn't have to look far. I mean, have you really looked at a flower recently? That's something that I always find marvelous. Check out the beautiful patterns and geometry that's within a flower. All of those amazing parts of it that are these amazing patterns, not to mention its overall beauty, the colors, and its scent. So acknowledge and appreciate the wonders of your surroundings, of nature, the simple things, and this will open you up to new ideas and a fresh vision. The great thing about allowing yourself to see with fresh eyes is that you embrace the present moment, which is pregnant with the power of renewal. Every day is an opportunity to begin anew. So pay full attention to the present moment rather than dwelling in the past. Try to be alert even when you're doing mundane daily tasks, as this is how you can experience familiar activities in new ways. This is how you can shift out of boredom and bring deeper meaning into actions that you perform repeatedly. The present moment is your point of power, so pay attention. Next, keep in mind that this too shall pass. You are in a phase, and life moves in cycles. As I said earlier, you could be in a phase where you are hunkering down and gathering your energies prior to a new shift. The ageless wisdom teaches that we move through 3 cycles in a rhythm of creation as we bring about change. Firstly, there is a cycle known as crisis and consolidation. And this is about understanding the ideas and consolidating these ideas that will turn into actions to bring about or to bring a project into manifestation. Next is a cycle of tension and expansion. Now, this is not tension as we usually think of it, but it's spiritual tension. It's a kind of poise and focus on the quality and the note behind any particular project. And finally, there is a cycle of emergence and impact when the project springs into livingness and its impact is felt in the consciousness as well as on the physical plane. So you notice that those cycles begin with crisis. Crisis, as alarming as it often sounds to us, is often the springboard to growth and expansion. So take heart and recognize and know that the nature of the universe is expansion. It's an ever-moving process to a higher order of existence. It's a process of refinement. But this refinement takes time. And so don't beat yourself up. You need to allow yourself the time and space for new things to emerge. And meanwhile, try to remain positive. Keep a positive outlook so that you do not sink into low frequencies that will halt your progress. And finally, it may be a good idea to have a look at your life and see if there is something that you need to let go of that is in conflict with you moving forward. You may need to release something in order to move on. It could be a belief, a pattern of behavior, or perhaps you need to set up a new habit, like starting a meditation practice. That's always a good one, so that you can go within and get into the deeper meaning of what's going on in your life and gain an understanding of what life is calling you to do next. Meditation is excellent for connecting you with that inner knowing and with your higher self. Very important energies that will help you to move forward. Another thing that you can do to make a shift and restore positivity and balance is to download a free audio I've got available that I created, and it is called the Life Conspires to Make Me Successful Affirmations. So these are affirmations to program your mind for optimism and to program a really important belief that life is stacked in your favor and that you are connected to higher powers, so you don't need to rely on your individual resources alone. So often when we're feeling stuck, we are just in a state of pushing and forcing, and sometimes what we need to do is just allow ourselves to be and to know that we have access to higher ideas that can flow down to us. So in this recording, The Life Conspires to Make Me Successful Affirmations, we instill this powerful idea into your mind that life is stacked in your favor so that it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy in your life. So it includes affirmations for health and prosperity and success, and instills the belief that you are attracting inspiration, opportunities, and miracles into your life. So it gives you a really wonderful basis for optimism and positivity. So you can get this at theinspirationcloud.com/SYO78. Those are the numbers 78. That's theinspirationcloud.com/SYO78. And I will put a link in the show notes. And if you want to go the whole hog and dive into processes and techniques to move you forward in your well-being and evolution, you might want to have a look at my membership, betterthanhappyzone.com, and see if it's a good fit for you. It might be just the thing you need to help you move forward in your life and in your growth and in your well-being. Okay, that's it for today. I'm going to wrap this up now. I hope you've enjoyed those tips and it's given you some food for thought to how you can move through that phase and freshen up your life. So I really want to thank you for spending your time with me today. I really appreciate it, and I think it's just a lovely thing to make this connection with you. So thank you very much. Take care, and I will see you next week. Bye for now. Thanks so much for listening and for sharing this podcast and for subscribing and leaving me a lovely 5-star review on iTunes. Those things really help to get the podcast out there so that it can serve more people. If you have any questions or would like me to address a certain topic, I'd love to hear from you. You can email me at info@theinspirationcloud.com. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.